Hey guys, Nick here. I wanted to begin this with my Pocket Nines video. The theme of this video is kind of what to do with this middling pocket pair. Both of these, I'm going to use two hands. Both of these are going to be with Pocket Nines, and you'll see that I kind of make some weird calls with it. You'll see how they go, but I think they're pretty interesting. So I'm playing 50 NL, and the villain I'm playing against, this particular hand, again, I'm using this website Poker Poise, the website that Alec Torelli uses. I forget what it is. It just doesn't work for me. So I like this one better, anyways. As you can see, I just sat down, and the unknown villain is in the under the gun. I'm playing six max here, and he open limps. And with pocket nines, I think it's just like standard to raise. I make it $2, just a little bit bigger because of the limper. Everyone folds back down, and he makes the call. So pretty standard so far. Nothing much to say. This website will scroll down every time the next street happens because there's like notes down here, but I didn't put in any notes because I'm just gonna talk about it. And it's an okay flop, pretty dry. I mean, there's no flush draw, and but it comes jack high, which obviously beats the nines. Um, and he checks, and I put a continuation bet of $3 into 475. The reason I made it this size is because I think betting half at these stakes, betting half or less, I'm just gonna get a call, and it's gonna be a pretty balanced call. They like don't respect that small of bets, especially on a hand like this. I think I just want to represent strength. Plus, I think most importantly, the most important part about this sizing is my nines are good here so often. I mean, I can't even explain that he almost never has a jack here. If he does, it's just I'm making value here most of the time. I can't really explain anything other than that. And of course, he makes the call, and we go to a turn, and it's the queen of hearts bringing a flush draw, and this isn't the greatest card for me. Queens are in his range. It usually helps my range a lot more too because I'm the one raising, but I don't see myself betting here because he can continue with so much that would make my river decision pretty damn hard. I don't want to bloat the pot, especially because I think my nines are good so often. I have a ton of showdown value. I think a lot of people make the mistake of having showdown value but bloating the pot, and then their decision on the river is so tough because the pot is huge that they don't know what to do, and they can be bluffed off their best hand. I would love to show this hand down. I think my hand is good most of the time, but obviously he could have a queen, he could have any of the straight draws, and he could actually have heart draw too, but I really doubt it. So I check it back, which I think is pretty standard, and the deuce of clubs, total blank hits the river, and he goes ahead and bets pot. Pot size bets on this site's like always value, but if you actually think about the hand, what can he have? Like yeah, this seems very balanced, but here's the thing: like every draw missed. He could. I don't. The key thing, the very key thing about this hand is that he didn't. He would probably only check back the jack. He wouldn't bet the queen. I mean, he wouldn't bet if he has a jack. So I have to discount all jacks. Since I'm discounting all jacks, his ranges all miss draws. Any weaker hand than a nine, so those kind of don't matter, and a queen. That's it. That is it. But like, what hands on the flop is he calling that have a queen in it? I bet, I bet more than half. So a lot of the hands that he's going to be calling with that have queens should just fold. If you think about the amount of equity I deny with my over half size bet. Hold on one second. If you think about the equity I deny with my over half size bet on the flop, any hand with overs like really shouldn't continue. Betting here is either a misdraw or a queen, and the hands are weighted against the queen. So he doesn't have that many queens, although he does have some. He certainly almost never has any jack. So it's like misdraws or something just random spew. So I go ahead and make the call, and he shows up with 7-5 suited. He open limped. Oh man, he open limped 7-5 suited under the gun. I mean, that's just trash. Don't ever do that. This is just a fold without even thinking twice about it. Anyways, I think this is a pretty straightforward hand. I think you need to make the call here. I know it's a very thin hero call kind of thing, but I snapped this one. Guys here are pretty aggressive. I'm getting up to the stakes where it's pretty aggressive, but yeah. I'm going to move on to my next hand with pocket nines. Alright, so my next hand with pocket nines, I actually have the exact transcript from Global Poker. I couldn't find the other one for some reason. So you're going to have to deal with the very small, I don't know why I don't just make the cards bigger here, pocket nines. So I have pocket nines under the gun. I raise to 1.5. I get caller, 2 callers, and we go to a flop. And it's queen 8 deuce. So a very similar hand, except for that this time there's a flush draw. But again, I have second pair. But this time I'm out of position, which I don't really like at all. I have a diamond blocker, which is okay. That probably should come into play. I c-bet, and I get raised. Almost min raised. Now my thoughts on min raising. It's trash. I pretty much fold to like all min raises. I mean, if I don't have equity or I don't have like a very good hand, I pretty much always fold to min raises. And here's my reasoning. Most people call all min raises because you're getting such good odds. I need to call 4 to win 3. What's the pot? Okay. 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, I'm getting like amazing pot odds, 4 or 5 to 1. But like, that's the whole point of the min raise, is for them to give you odds to call. They want value. That being said, this raise doesn't make much sense because he either has sets or draws. I really don't see anything else. Yeah, he could have a pair of queens, but like, wouldn't ace queen raise pre? Yeah, I'm under the gun, so maybe not. And wouldn't king queen or jack queen just flat because there's so many hands that still beat you? So this raise seems so odd to me. Normally I would fold here because like, what's this min raise accomplishing other than making value? But it just seems so against GTO that I just called. And the turn's an ace. Oops. Ace of clubs. Not that bad of a card. Not that bad of a card. I feel like any sets. I mean, sets would still bet, but like every draw, every flush draw, including backdoor clubs, is gonna bet. So my nines are still good. So when I check to him, he does bet 11, which is a very balanced bet in terms of sizing. The sizing, there's no read on a sizing, so I don't know really what to do here other than just make the call because my nines are still so good. So often, like again, there's not much weighted towards the queen. He's so weighted towards like these draws. Like queen 8 also has straight draws, flush draws. I mean, the ace now brings another straight draw. Like there's just so many draws in his range that, I mean, yeah, he could have a set of 8s or deuces. I totally understand that. But I'm so ahead of like every drawing hand that I just call. And the river is, I forget get the river. Here we go. The deuce. So 2 pair comes on the board. Now I have 2 pair. So I beat any. I mean, I'm still in the same spot since it's still a blank. So none of the draws hit. Um, a, a set is now a boat, so it's not good news for us. But that's okay. He goes ahead and bets 21, which is like, I don't know, a little less than half, but it's about a half-size pot bet. So we're hit here with a pretty tough decision. You know, we are getting 3 to 1. So I only have to be right 1 in every 3 times. Here is where I wasn't sure what to do, because I could easily see him having a boat here. He might have an ace. I still discount a lot of the queens. It's pretty much boats or missed draws. And if you think about that, I think I would lean more towards calling, because he could exploitively bluff all his draws. I really lean towards folding here, because at these stakes, players don't bet rivers much. Again, this is a hand that I just sat down, kind of like my last hand, so I had no reads. And when I have no reads, I kind of play what I assume to be GTO, which is against an opponent, a thinking opponent that is trying to play GTO also. So if you are playing GTO, to balance out your range is that he has to bet here with his missed draws and his value. So I have to be indifferent to making this bet. So I think a fold is actually more correct. But at the time, I was thinking calling here beats all of his missed draws. I just played that pocket nines hand where a guy tried to bluff me on the river here. It was a little bit different. So I thought this ace is too scary for him to. He would check back any 1 pair hand. I don't think he has pairs anyway, so it's basically I have a bluff catcher here, and I think calling here is okay, because I'm just catching on the bluff, especially if he is playing GTO. This is a pretty balanced spot by him, but I am a hero caller. I am a station a lot when it comes to trying to catch the bluffers. This was late at night at like 4 in the morning. So I go ahead and make the call, and he shows up with 2 pair. So I lose like, 80 big blinds. 75 big blinds. I don't care. No, I did care. But this just goes to show like some of my thought process of I can't actually believe that he had ace queen there. I thought this was like boats or air. So now I know he's capable of like betting 2 pair here. I think this is like kind of a crazy bet. Like what is he getting value from other than like a weak queen, which he isn't getting really a value from that anyways. Here I think I would, if I were him, I would just jam, or fold. I don't know. It's a weird spot. I think if you with ace queen here, maybe betting 3 streets was okay. It just seems very polarized, and when someone's very polarized on a river, like when I'm very polarized, I either bet gigantic or I check, because like I said, like he's polarized. Like he either has nothing or he has like boats, which he didn't. He had ace queen. This queen raise on the flop just I really don't get. I mean, I guess that's why he made it so small. It's weird because I think if this ace doesn't come up, I don't even know if he bets turn or river. But anyways, I think it's an okay call. Obviously leaning towards more of a fold as I said before. I tanked here and then I called. This could be considered really loose, but I just want you guys to know like why I make thin calls like this all the time. 'Cause people bluff here on the river all the time. Oh, Andrew Nemi, new episode. Yeah, I so for those of you who think like this is just straight up maniacal, like I actually think this is kind of standard. Maybe if this wasn't an ace, I think this would be a much, much, much better call. Because even if he has a queen and this is just like runs out like deuce, four, deuce or something, like this call's like way, way better because like a balanced player might be wanting to get value with an ace. But I don't know. There is a logical thinking here, and without going too much like into without calculators, I really do think that this is an okay call some of the time. Maybe half the time this is okay. But I do this stuff all the time, and I've been crushing the game for a while. And yeah, like this is the time where the reason why I wanted to show a hand, not because I usually show hands when I win, and I want to show hand when I lost, but that hand I showed before with the pocket nines, he could have easily had Jack Queen or a Queen and stacked me or and made value, but this is what happens when you go for thin calls on the river a lot. A third of the time they're gonna show up with something like this, and with like the pot odds I was given, it's just gonna happen. So hope you enjoyed this video about the crazy pocket nines hand, but hope you learned something. Probably should fold here. I don't know. Without being too results oriented, that's why I didn't even want to show this. Uh, I really would love to know what you think about this hand in particular. The problem is everyone's biased now because they saw the ace queen, but make these calls all the time. They're right a lot, and you have to remember I don't even have to be right a lot. I only have to be right one in every 3 times. So thank you guys. I'll see you later.